What is up, guys? Welcome back to another special episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. It's week one. We're doing player props. We got Jesse with us. How are we doing this morning, Jesse?
Good morning. This is it, baby. We made it.
We made it. We have hopefully all of our lineups set. There shouldn't be too many start-sit questions for the people out there, but today it's all about the props. We're going to be opening up the DraftKings Sportsbook and taking a look at some of our favorite touchdown bets. We're going to look at some of the favorite yardage props, and maybe we'll sneak in some interception props as well. I think that's one thing that we started to do last year that was pretty fun. But man, there's going to be some good games. There's going to be a handful of not so good games. I'm opening up the DraftKings Sportsbook right now. Should we just dive right into this slugfest here of Ravens and Texans? There's going to be touchdowns in this game. Looks like the Ravens are 9.5-point favorites. A low total of 43.5 points in this one, though. So we're going to be lucky if the Texans get to 2 touchdowns. I think 1 is for sure, but it's a question of 2. But Jesse, who's scoring for the Ravens in this one?
Yeah, so this is the J.K. Dobbins home run smash spot. You could take him for 1 touchdown. You could take him for 2 touchdowns. I just think for sure if you're doing any props this week, plus 110 on J.K. Dobbins. 2 touchdowns, you're getting plus 650. Yep. I'm almost willing to take a stab on that. I think this is his first season coming now into the NFL where he's like, A, he's healthy, B, he's motivated, C, he wants to get paid. I mean, it's like a culmination of things coming for, all at once. There's really not a lot of depth behind him. Gus Edwards, he's been there for a while. We know what the Gus Bus is going to give us. This is the J.K. Dobbins show. And if you've been listening throughout the year, you know that he's a target of ours on the fellowship. So this is maybe his best spot of the year right away, week 1.
Right. And I just want to, these are last year's numbers, but I do want to point out that the Texans were what we call a run funnel defense. They allowed by far the most rushing yards to running backs. They allowed 22 rushing touchdowns. Not so much in the receiving department, but Texans were bad last year. People just ran the football on them. And you look at the 31.63 PPR points per game to the running backs. Like if Dobbins gets 60% of that, like he's hitting 20 points. So we love J.K. Dobbins. I think we're still waiting for Mark Andrews, right? Like he's been listed as questionable. So I don't know if I'm comfortable clicking on his name until we get like him finally confirmed that he's playing. But otherwise, like besides J.K. Dobbins, are we interested in a Lamar Jackson rushing touchdown? I think it's difficult to bet on Zay, Odell, likely Bateman. I think all those guys are difficult, but maybe we pivot from the Baltimore receivers and look at the Lamar Jackson passing touchdown number. But any thoughts on the Lamar rushing touchdown?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he scored. I just feel, personally, if I'm taking one touchdown bet from this team, it's going to be JK. I just think it's a safer bet. But it's Lamar Jackson. He's seen, he equally motivated, equally ready to kind of prove that MVP season was not a fluke.
Yep.
He got paid. He's happy. The vibes feel good in Baltimore outside of Mark Andrews and whatever's going on with him right now.
So I think it's a good idea to like think of like each game is like, okay, who's the best, most likely player to score? It's going to be J.K. Dobbins. If you guys have balls of steel and enjoy a good sweat, Ravens defense plus 500 to score. Just want to shout it out there. It's at home. C.J. Stroud, we looked at his interception bet last night. He's one of the highest favorites to throw an interception tomorrow. Ravens also have a good special teams unit. If you're feeling frisky, you want to look at, Ravens maybe getting a defensive touchdown. I think that's kind of a fun one. And then Texans, Dameon Pierce is probably the only guy that has a chance to score tomorrow without it being, a random Dalton Schultz or Nico Collins or something like that. So we're not going to advise betting on that, but it would be Dameon Pierce. Any quick thoughts on the Texans before I pull up the passing numbers?
Yeah, one last thing. I'm maybe the receiving yards are a little more spicy for Nico, but plus 340 for Nico Collins. Yeah. The Ravens did give up 12 passing touchdowns to receivers last year. They were in the bottom 10 against receivers. So it's an interesting shot. If they're going to be behind, they're going to be throwing. Mm-hmm. Nico is, to me, the bona fide number 1 there right now. So it's a pretty decent odds, but we might like his yards better.
I don't see it anywhere on here right now, but DraftKings is doing a week 1 promo. They're calling it a no sweat bet where you get a refund up to $10. So if you want to put a $10 bet on something and you just opt into that, you're going to get the $10 back if it doesn't hit. So if you want to do, like, I think the Nico call is cool, or the Baltimore Ravens touchdown, that could be a nice slap there with the no sweat bet. But as far as passing props real quick, they're saying C.J. Stroud's going to throw at least 1 touchdown. They're saying Lamar Jackson under 2 in a game where they're favored by about 10 points here. So Does Lamar Jackson hit 2? Does that interest you at minus 140?
Yeah, I mean that's
Or,
getting plus odds on 2 passing
yeah,
touchdowns, right?
that's something to think about. Plus 110 to hit 2.
Yeah, I mean 26.5 points, so they're 3 touchdowns. It's maybe they hit the 4th touchdown. It's like the question is going to be if they hit 4 touchdowns, it's probably 2 pass, 2 run, and if they hit 3, it's probably 2 run, 1 pass.
Um,
It's interesting.
it's I'm gonna put it on the list. It's something to consider, I think, for sure. Again, we already like the J.K. Dobbins one, but Dobbins can also catch one too, and that could help Lamar. The passing yards, I'm not interested in betting on C.J. Stroud. We need more data points on him and see what that looks like. I do think the Lamar 223.5 is interesting. People are taking that over. They're beating it down to minus 125. That's definitely one to consider.
Mhm.
Otherwise, would you rather just take the Lamar pass plus rush for 278.5?
Yeah, I mean if I'm going to take one of these yardage bets, that seems like a good one.
Yeah,
I would probably bank Lamar for
yeah.
close to 300 all-purpose yards.
And then there's the CJ Stroud over half interception minus 166. That might be he might be one of the heaviest favorites to throw an interception tomorrow. So that one, I know it's minus 166, but you can maybe add that to like a fun parlay or something and see what you can do. But let's just take a quick peek at these rushing receiving props here. Rushing yards, J.K. Dobbins is at 59.5. Are you smashing that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was 55.5 yesterday. So
Oh, wow.
I didn't take it, but I wish I would have. Now seeing that it's basically at 60. So
And I do want to mention Damian Pierce, man. I saw someone tweet out something yesterday where, and I might have even retweeted it. Let me see if I can find it because it said that when the Texans were like heavy losers, like Damian Pierce still hit his over on those numbers. Let me see if I can just find that real quick for us. Here we go. Jacob Gibbs with the stats here. Averages in games, Houston scored 17 or fewer points, which is basically what they're projecting for the Baltimore game. He had 15 rushing attempts, 59.5 yards, about 10 PPR points. And all the other games where they scored 17 or more points, you want Damian Pierce in your lineup. So even in a bad matchup, it could work. Looking at the numbers from last year, the Ravens were middle of the road, but 21.12 fantasy points per game. I think they did give up about 72 yards per game to the running back. So I just want to mention that it seems a little low. Like we know they're going to give Damian Pierce the ball. Like you got a rookie quarterback, they're on the road. Pierce is going to be busy. But any other like they don't have everything in here for the receptions. I don't know if they're just waiting for Mark Andrews, so maybe we just bypass this for now. And there's anything stick out?
yeah, I mean we only have basically Houston and some J.K. Dobbins numbers, which I'm not going to touch J.K. Dobbins receiving numbers. Nico at 41.5 is probably a decent line.
That's solid. That's three. What's his? So one thing that I've been like when I would do these solo last year, Jesse, I would before I even looked at the receiving yards, I would come down here and look at the receptions, and then this would tell me a story. So like Noah Brown, heavy favorite to go over 2 receptions right now. So I would go up and look at his receiving number. Same thing with Robert Woods. They're saying he's going over 2.5. So maybe those guys, you're not going to take these overs because they're smashed, but you could maybe go ahead and take the yard. I'm just curious what happens if we come up here. Noah Brown 19.5, Bob Wood. So basically 10 yards per catch, and these guys hit their prop. So
Right.
they're dirty, they're disgusting, but we have to do just our due diligence on that one. Anything else stick out besides Nico here?
No, nothing crazy here that I'm liking.
I think we did a pretty good job covering this one. I am interested in seeing what happens when Mark Andrews gets added, but let's go over to the 49ers and the Steelers. First of all, like who you got in this one? This one could go either way, I think. 49ers are picked to win by 2.5. Money lines minus 130 on them. And it's a low scoring game, 41.5. So it could go either way.
Yeah, you're getting 2 to 3 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns probably max from either side here. It's home for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but San Francisco's a really nice matchup, especially on the front. It's just going to be this Pickens going to be running for his life all day. Are they going to be able to find the end zone? Yeah, I mean,
when are we going to see plus odds for McCaffrey the rest of the year? Like that seems a little odd to me. And like if gun to my head, like if the 49ers score 1 touchdown tomorrow, it's probably CMC. I have trouble betting on George Kittle, Debo, Ayuk. I don't know who to bet on. Do you have any strong feelings or stat takes on any of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that I'm thinking here is so Ayuk plus 250. He's the longest shot receiver. In this matchup, I think it's a matchup that favors a guy like Ayuk or man to man. So if they do find the end zone through the air, I think Ayuk has probably the best shot of the three to find it.
And last year, the 49ers defense, like they were like the number one team against running back, and because of that, teams had to throw the ball on them. So I'm not afraid of like putting Pickens, Deontay in my lineups. And I think Pat Freiermuth is probably just like an average matchup this week. But if there's going to be a Steelers touchdown, I think it wouldn't surprise me if Deontay gets the first Steelers touchdown of the year. That just sounds like a story that would happen. And then George Pickens. So I'm not opposed to those guys. And then the Steelers last year, they were stout against the run, but they allowed receiver and tight end points here. But if you had to pick a Steeler touchdown, who are we taking?
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the Deontay Johnson thing. You know, it's after not getting in there last year. You know, if he gets in there, that would make a lot of sense. Pickens, I mean, Pickens is a guy who like he's just gonna score, right? I mean, he's got that big playability. But I mean, yeah, I mean, you're getting good odds on both of them. Do we love either of them? Probably not against the San Francisco defense. So,
but one of them's gonna score, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, we've been doing this for a few years now, and like, say your unit's $10 and you put $10 on Deontay, it's going to pay you out $39. And then you put the same $10 on George Pickens and it pays out 33. If one of them scores, you're still making money. Technically, It's not a huge hit, but it is a little bit of a hit. And then if both score, like the odds are not in that favor. But whenever you see two receivers on the same team and their odds are plus, especially this much, like 230 and 290,
yeah, big plus, yeah.
And just with the matchup here, like 49ers front seven is disgustingly good. So I would bet good money that one of Deontay or Pickens scores, which I think is a fun wrinkle. Like, but that's like the old Chris Godwin, Mike Evans rule. That's the old back in the day Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp rule.
Where T. Higgins, Jamar,
one of these guys will do it. Any other interest in touchdowns? Like touchdowns are going to be scarce in this one. There might be like only 3 scored in this game.
Yeah, I'm not clicking really any other name.
So do we want to look at the passing props real quick? I mean, these defenses are so good. I don't know if I want to mess with it. Both QBs are under 1.5 touchdowns. I'm just probably not excited about this.
No, it's a tough game. I mean, especially if we're focused on overs, just because we tend to like to focus on the upside. It's not a game where I'm seeing a lot of upside.
Oh, they got both guys not throwing an interception. Both minus 125 under. Strange. Someone's throwing a pick in this game.
Yeah.
Rush receiving. I don't know if anything's going to stick out just because these defenses are so damn good. Najee, people are taking the over 48.5, but I personally think he's going to need at least.
He's going to need 17, 18 carries to get there,
I was saying 15, and that was going to be modest, but like he's going to get 3.5 yards per carry. He's going to need the Montgomery line.
Yeah.
I don't feel good about anything in this game. And this is it's week 1. When we feel good about something, we should go strong to the hoop. When we have 2 of the top 5 defenses in a game here with young second-year quarterbacks where we don't really know what's going on, take the McCaffrey touchdown and probably call it a day on this game. Like that's probably where I'm at.
Yeah. I agree there. It is interesting that they have Debo and Ayuk at both 50.5, and people are taking Debo. I think this sets up better for an Ayuk game. I just think Pittsburgh runs more man. Last year, when playing against man, Ayuk kind of had the better game. There's a couple stats out there that favor Ayuk in man coverage.
I just want to see the receptions here. So people are they're smashing the over on Deontay. They're smashing the over on Ayuk as well.
But they're taking the under on Debo. So it's weird how why is the over yards? So
4 for each. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And then they're smashing the Najee over.
2 grabs. I mean, that seems light. Does that seem light to you? I mean, Najee's usually good for a catch or 2 or 3.
That's probably an over. It's minus 175. They're taking over here. Rushing receiving yards. I was looking for a Debo line, but there is none. But they have freaking Ayuk on here, which is weird. So, okay, that'll do it for this one. We'll move on.
Yep.
This one would be like get your Cardinal prop bets or get your Commander prop bets ready. Commanders -7 at home. Huge money line favorites minus 325.
Yep.
This is a Brian Robinson plus 155 TD probably. I'm struggling to predict who's going to catch the touchdown, whether it's Terry, whether it's Jahan. It's probably going to be Logan Thomas or Curtis Samuel. Piss us all off. I do think Gibbs, again, so we mentioned the receiver rule. Take Brian Robinson and Gibson to score a touchdown. You might get both. You might actually get both to hit in this game because we're expecting a lot of carries and attempts here. But how are you looking at these touchdown odds here for this game?
Yeah, I mean, we like the running backs here. I mean, I actually really like that plus 240 Jahan Dotson.
Yeah,
that's a good number. I mean, I think he's going to be featured heavily when they're near the red zone. He's also got the deep threat. He's big playability. I mean, it's just this Arizona defense. It's so bad that they can score from any way, always. And so you just kind of pick the guy who you think is going to lead the team in touchdowns throughout the year for a game like this. And on the ground, Brian Robinson, they're going to get near the goal line. They're going to punch him in there. And then Gibson, they're probably going to mix him in too. Probably, I mean, if they're up big in the first half, it could just be like, all right, Brian, you got the first half. Here you go, Gibson. Have some fun in the second half. Howell's also probably going to throw for a touchdown or two here.
Look at the Sam Howell rushing plus 265. That's pretty decent. That's
actually a pretty good number.
That's a pretty decent number there that he's going to do so. But I think a better thing was we should maybe go look at Sam Howell's passing touchdown number. People are taking the under 1.5. So
I think they're just assuming,
they're assuming
run.
So to me, they're assuming 2 rushing touchdowns and 1 passing touchdown. So we're getting 3 Commanders touchdown this weekend. But if Howell gets 2 plus 145, man, that's intriguing.
Yeah.
So I guess to me, this is telling me I'd rather take the B-Rob and the Gibson touchdown.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna hit one of those, and there's a really good chance that both hit actually. So they do not have any Cardinal passing quarterback in here yet. We're not interested in the Howell passing numbers, but we might be interested in his rushing numbers. The 237 combined is pretty low.
Yeah, it's relatively low overall. I think what people are thinking is, in general, if you look at what Houston did last year, terrible defense, terrible team. Arizona this year, terrible defense, terrible team. It's just going to. But Houston was like what? Like when it came to stats and yards, they're so good against quarterbacks because they simply just did not have volume.
Houston was the number 1 team against fantasy QBs last year.
Yeah. I mean, it's just nobody was passing. It's just you didn't have to. And I think that's Arizona. I mean, they're already throwing in the flag. I mean, they're talking Marquise Brown is questionable. Zach Ertz probably not playing. They have an O-line already ruled out. It's like they are failing.
The Cardinals were terrible last year against the running back already, and now they're even worse.
This is a Gibson B-Rob double tap.
Can you name any? We do this all the time, but can you name another Cardinal defender besides Budda Baker?
Right.
It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad, guys. The rushing numbers. I mean, I think both Gibby and B-Rob are in play here. The Brian Robinson's at minus 115. Gibson's gonna probably hit that pretty easily. Yeah. But I think maybe we should look at the rushing attempts for these guys. That might tell us a story here. They don't have Gibson, but they got Brian at 14.5. So they're going to give Brian Robinson 15 carries, probably over 4 yards a carry, I would assume, in this one. So I'm thinking he hits his 60. Anything on the receivers here? Terry, Dotson?
Nah, nothing's really. I mean, how do we take overs on the yards? They might not throw 15 times.
Yeah, this is all about the running backs. I do think Howell. I mean, people are taking Howell over 21.5.
That's a good number.
That one is interesting. I think he only needs he's probably going to end up scrambling 5 times minimum.
Yeah.
I would bet he scrambles once every other drive and picks up some yards. So not a fun game here. Anything else you want to take a peek at here?
No, we can go ahead and just put this one in the books.
Yeah, this one's going to be – just leave that one for the Red Zone channel. Carolina at Atlanta. Atlanta favored to win by 3.5, minus 1.
Very low scoring game here.
Under 40, that's a bad game. Let's see here. Touchdown scores. It's Bijan plus 100. Are we clicking it? We're clicking.
Yeah, CMC and Bijan, right? Plus 100 bets.
Yeah.
You just take and know that in the future it's going to be a lot of minus odds on those.
I'm not taking anybody else to score a touchdown in this game. You can maybe convince me of Algier though, for like a super dark horse. Put him on the no sweat parlay.
How deep is he on the list?
320.
Yeah, 320. I mean, that's pretty. I would not be surprised if he punches one in.
I'm not clicking on anybody else in this game. I think London's cool, but we need data points on Ritter and last year Ritter didn't get to play with Kyle Pitts, so he did pummel London with targets. But you add Pitts to that, you add Mac Hollins, and now Bijan. Like, this is not the Falcons. Like, we can't project anything off of last year with this team. So I think it's Bijan or bust. Carolina, gun to your head, who you're taking to score a touchdown, and why is it Jonathan Mingo?
Jeez, again, Hayden Hurst. Why not?
Hayden Hurst. Oh no, the Broadhurst. Oh no, 425.
I just Sanders. Sanders to me feels like a guy who like gets 5 carries and then he's like out for the rest of the game, questionable with an ankle or something. You know, like
he's had the groin thing all summer.
Yeah, he's been dealing with issues. I can't trust it. I just can't trust anything on this team. You got the rookie coming into Atlanta. I think Atlanta's defense is on the up and up this year. And I think they're going to be fired up for this game.
We need data points here. If you're feeling really frisky, Atlanta defense plus 700. Is Cordero Patterson returning punts and kickoffs? We don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's plus 700. It's interesting. That could be a long shot.
Is there anything else you want to look at in this game, like Bryce Young?
Like you said, I think we just need data.
Yeah.
Early in the season, I mean, like you could gamble on these if you want, but like you know, if you're trying to build a solid lineup of props, there's not too much to predict here. You know, not yet.
We'll take a peek at the Bijan line, 69.5. I think that's open for business.
That's open for business.
I don't know what people like to do, but like, would you take the Bijan touchdown and pair it with the 70 yards here as like a little mini Bijan bet? I don't know if that's
mini for you. Desmond Ridder's 13.5. I mean, that seems.
He doesn't scoot that much.
No.
He didn't last year. He had one game where he did move around, but
how many games did he start?
4. So one out of 4 games.
Such a small.
So we need data on this. I don't need data on Bijan though. I think.
Yeah, it's a home run.
We'll probably throw the touchdown one up on the website and call it good on this.
I wish I had an Algier yards. I like your Algier take plus 320 on the touchdown. I think that's a fun, sneaky one. We have no Algier numbers. So.
Ooh, Bijan longest run, 16.5. You taking the over on that?
I think he's a 20-yarder.
I think I'd take the reception 9.5 too. I think he's hitting some big plays.
I think I'd take the over on the longest rush. It's for fun.
Yeah, that one's fun.
Do a little single game parlay Bijan. You know,
have some fun, live a little. All right, so we covered 4 games. Titans and Saints, man. Before we get into this one, I just got to show you how bad the Titans funnel was last year. They were the second worst defense in fantasy points allowed last year, but they were like one of the best against running backs. So it is a tough matchup for Jamal, but if you're playing him, it's based on volume. But they were awful against QBs, and they were the worst team allowing fantasy points to the wide receiver, and then they were a top 5 bad team against tight end. So, Chris Olave show. What do we got going here? I'll throw it to you in a sec. Saints favored to win by 3, minus 155 for the money line. Who's scoring touchdowns in this game?
I got 2 names for sure. Chris Olave plus 180. I think we're going to take that one to the bank. And then this one's super spicy, but I think Jimmy Graham finds the end zone. Plus 700.
Jimmy G. I think Taysom Hill is going to be the goal line back. If you're starting Jamal Williams, like Jamal Williams is going to be 20 for 70 yards, and then they're going to sub in Taysom Hill for the goal line package. They're going to put Derek Carr out at wide receiver, lined up right next to Jimmy Graham. They're going to do some bullshit, dude. Like
you're going to be, Jamal Williams owners could be sad.
Well, like you got to play the volume, especially if Kendre is ruled out. Like, do you know who their backup running back is? Do you remember your boy Kirk Merritt?
Yeah, Kirk. They transitioned him to running back, didn't they?
What?
Yeah.
What? He was like
awesome.
He was like the Dolphins camp star one summer at receiver, and now he's the backup running back week 1 for Jamal Williams. So I do think Jamal's a volume play, but other than this, like the Saints are going to be the most annoying team to take touchdown bets on, I think, all season. because we just don't know. There's so many guys to pick here. I do think Olave touchdown is in play, but I'm probably going to gravitate more towards his reception total and his receiving yards total, because I think that's more bankable, more consistent. We don't know what Derek Carr is going to do. On the Titan side of things, there's only 42 points being scored in this game. I do want to look up and see real quick. On the fantasyfellowship.com, I do make a little chart here that tells me how many points everyone's going to score.
You're at 19 right now.
They have the Saints at 22 and the Titans down here at about 19. So that's 2 touchdowns for sure for Tennessee. Like Derrick Henry's minus 140. That's not appetizing. But if you had to bet on the next Titan, is it D Hop? Is it Burks? Is it Okonkwo?
I mean, if anything, if last year has any carryover, the Saints were the #1 team against tight ends. So yeah. I don't love that. Receiver wise, I mean, it's a tough place to play, man. It's just a tough place to play.
Defense is elite. Saints defense is elite.
It's a good defense. And if you're asking me who I'm taking my money on, it's probably like a D Hop, just on the fact that he's he's quality and we know he can do it. I just don't see – I see Tennessee struggling. They bottle up Henry, and then you force Tannehill to try and make it happen, and I just don't I don't have any confidence.
If I had to put one touchdown bet on a Titans player, it's Treylon Burks. D-Hop's going to probably get shadowed by Lattimore, I would assume, for the most part of the game. And Treylon Burks plus 275, he only needs one play to do it. Like – He's going to get a little bit softer coverages. I think if the Saints control this game, they're going to have to force the Titans to pass the ball. Both QBs are projected under 2 touchdowns, so that's not a surprise at all. Let's see here. Interceptions. They have Derek Carr throwing one, Ryan Tannehill not throwing one, which is interesting. Let's take a peek here. And again, I want to get into habit of the rushing yards, like Derrick Henry – minus 125 to hit 78.5. Like, I'm not really interested in these rushing numbers. Did you have any any of these appetite you?
Yeah, I mean, Jamal 50 yards. Probably take it to the bank. 50 yards. He's going to get that.
He's going to get 20 carries. So
yeah, exactly.
But I do want to get into a habit of, before I even look at the receiving yards, I want to come down here and look at the receptions. And they got Olave. They're smashing him over 4.5. I think that's easy money. It's not big. It's not like not a nice return, but it is easy money. I think the Hopkins 4.5 is doable. Henry at 1.5. I don't know if that's. I think we're going to see Tajay Spears. I wish they had Tajay in here for like 0.5 catches or something. And then they have Burks at minus. They have minus 105 for 3.5. So they have Burks catching 4 balls. Roughly, a little bit on the underside. So
yeah, so it's like 3. They're leaning towards 3 catches for Burks. I think he can get the 4.
I think he can get the 4.
I think especially in a game too, where I mean, look, Mike Vrabel's never going to abandon the run.
Yeah,
but maybe they pass a little bit more than they normally would.
Tannehill has, call it 28 pass attempts. D Hop gets 8 of those, and then there's 20 left over. Burks will get he'll get 6 targets, 5-6 targets minimum. So that's interesting. But otherwise, the reception numbers, the receiving yard numbers here, like Olave has been moving up. He's been moving up. I saw him earlier in the week, I think at 64.5. Mm-hmm. Everybody, the bag's out on Olave. He's going to smash this weekend. Otherwise, nothing else really sticks out here. I don't know about you. Like Treylon Burks, 36.5 is too low for him, I think. But I'm not super confident about it.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at this, nothing here is like, this is the play. This is the play. I mean, D Hop 57.5. It's like, sure, you probably get around 60. Olave is like the one play for me.
This is the game where we know Olave is going to be good. We know Henry's going to get the ball. We know Jamal's going to get the ball, and I think we leave the rest for science and data.
Tight end touchdowns for the Saints.
Let's look at the game of the week: Tampa Bay at Minnesota.
Yep. Why is this the game of the week?
Yeah, Vikings minus 5.5. minus 238 for the money line here. Who's scoring in this game? Like Justin Jefferson plus 105 seems pretty bankable right now.
How many plus games for JJ are we going to get?
I think that probably's got to go on the site. Otherwise, I don't know, man. Like, I want to see. Like, we don't know if Jordan Addison's going to outsnap KJ Osborne yet. Like, we kind of need some data on some of these things here. So I do think if you're taking a Viking, it's Madison, JJ. Do you have any other good feelings about anyone else?
Madison could probably fall in minus 115 though. It's not, that's interesting that he's like the one that minus odds guy across the board so far today. It's a volume play and he probably falls in. And I don't hate Mike Evans. Mike Evans, he actually was plus 160 when I opened when I opened up this morning. So he's kind of going down a little bit. I mean, I think Minnesota's susceptible to points being scored.
They got Minnesota at almost 26 points and Tampa Bay down here at 19. So again, they're giving Tampa Bay 2 touchdowns. They're giving Minnesota 3. So,
I mean, if you're telling me to take $1, I'll take Mike Evans. Rashad White at plus 180 is pretty low. So like if they get near the goal line, it's not terrible. But I don't love the touchdown scores here. I mean, it's Baker Mayfield. Like what are we gonna get?
So we're kind of expecting the Vikings to come out and throw the ball and lead to Tampa Bay having to throw the ball in the second half. So Godwin at plus 235 though, man, that's pretty. Like he caught the touchdown from Baker in the preseason, and when I think about like if Baker Mayfield succeeds in Tampa Bay, who's his best target? I think he fits really well with Godwin. Like when you think back about Baker in Cleveland, like he had Jarvis Landry and he actually like he floated Landry like well enough for fantasy. I think Godwin fits well with Baker. We haven't really seen Baker like take really good deep shots and more boundary stuff. So I do think if they get close to the red zone, it's going to be a Mike Evans dial up play. But otherwise, I think Godwin. But I don't want to bet on any of these guys. If we're being honest. Passing numbers here, they have Kirk going over 2. They have Baker under 1. Under 2. I don't think I disagree with any of these numbers. They have Cousins at 274.5.
Those are all pretty decent lines.
Those interceptions here, they're giving Baker 1. They're giving Kirk 0. I do want to look and see Tampa Bay last year, their defense against the QB, middle of the road. They did have 10 picks last year, though.
29 TDs.
And the Vikings had 15 interceptions last year on defense. So
Baker's throwing picks.
Baker's throwing a pick, but
he's throwing a pick 6. What's the Vikings touchdown odds?
The Vikings allowed the most QB passing. Oh, Tennessee, but the second most QB passing yards last year. So maybe Baker's in for like a really nice garbage game.
It could be, especially if the Vikings are up like 2 scores late.
Oh man, but we can't responsibly. We can't.
I remember the year I was taking Baker under every single week.
It was that,
like 6 weeks in a row.
Well,
what's Vikings defensive touchdown odds? Just curious.
It's 550. That's almost as much as Baltimore.
That's Baltimore. Atlanta plus 700 still is interesting.
Rushing yards, I think Rashad White, if he gets 15 carries, that's probably a pretty nice over. That's even if he gets 15 carries, that's like not even 3.1 yards per carry. Like that's pretty achievable for.
He was 45.5 2 days ago.
Okay, so he's moving up. I'm still not comfortable with the Madison line, man. Like I don't know what it is about him. Like for him to hit 66, he needs minimum 17, 18 carries. Like Tampa Bay's defense is still decent, right?
Yeah, I mean it's not a terrible defense. It's aging, but it's.
Oh, we got special comment here. Andrew asking, what's the prediction of Deontay Johnson on yards? I think they had him at 52.5, and they were taking over on 4.5 receptions. So they basically had him 5 for 52, Andrew. So in a PPR league, that's minimum 10 points, but I mentioned I think they're going to try and get him the touchdown this year, the first Pittsburgh Steelers touchdown. If I could bet money on that, I think it would be a Deontay touchdown. So I'm gonna say Deontay goes 6 for 63 and a touchdown. He'll get you 18 points. Anything stick out here on the receiving line? They got JJ at 88.5, Osborne 28.5, and then Addison 40.5. I didn't do my discipline of looking at the receptions first, but nothing really. Kate Otten 24.5. Three. Let's go look at Otten's. I bet Otten's receptions are interesting.
Rachaad White 18.5.
They're smashing Otten over 2.5, and his yards are only 24. So he just needs 3 catches.
Look at Rachaad, man. Minus 145 on the 2.5, and they got him at 18.5. That's
okay. So that sticks out.
Those two both. I think those are nice.
There's a lot of these here.
They're taking overs on everything but the JJ.
So we like Rachaad over 18.5. I mean, I don't love it, but Otten's an interesting one to consider. They did like the Mike Evans over. Was he at 3.5?
Yeah.
So 4 catches for 60 yards is doable for Mike.
Godwin at 56.5. I mean, would you rather just take Godwin? That's interesting.
Godwin was at 5.5, and people were taking the under. So 5 catches for Godwin seems about right. I don't know. I think you lean into the Rachaad White passing game. Like, if I'm going to bet on anything on Tampa Bay, it's Rachaad White probably catching 4 passes.
I mean, he's getting 20 yards from me, and Rachaad White makes sense. I mean,
yeah. But we're not like super gung ho about betting on the Bucs. I think the Bucs qualify as one of those teams where we need to see some data and figure out, one, like, is Rachaad White on the field at all times? Who is the number 1 target for Baker Mayfield? Can this team run the ball? And can this team play D? Like, there's so many things to figure out about Tampa Bay. Whereas, like, Vikings, we know what they're going to do. But we just don't know if Addison and Osborne are going to be sharing duties as the 3. And we don't know if Alexander Mattison is the every down back yet. So I want to advise caution on that, because I think over here, think Ty Chandler is a pretty good player that could be out there on 3rd downs.
He's a good stash. I think we spent too much time on this game.
Yeah. This one's fun. Bengals and Browns, man. Yeah. So we're about 36 minutes in, Jesse. We could probably just pick up the pace a little bit here. Who's scoring in this game besides Nick Chubb here? Like Jamar Chase at 100? Who else is scoring?
Yeah, I mean, we got our 2nd highest total here. So this is there's going to be points on the board here. This is a historically good matchup between 2 teams. Cleveland has the number right now. So this is a big question, big test early in the season for the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, Jamar, another one. It's like JJ. You take him when he's plus.
Yeah.
Call it a day. Does Mixon fall into the end zone? This is one where you take T. Higgins and Chase to both score. David Njoku, hottest name in camp right now, for Cleveland.
If I'm taking a receiver to catch a touchdown, it's probably Njoku from the Browns side.
You just take, Chubb minus 150. That's a big number.
You might be able to parlay that with another like a strong touchdown favorite. Like, would you take Nick Chubb minus 150 and add on Bijan plus 100 and then just do that little Nick Chubb Bijan touchdown bet?
Yeah,
that could be nice.
Feels reasonable.
But otherwise, like, all these guys can score. Chubb, Chase, Mixon at plus 115 is probably going to score. Like, that one seems to make sense. So if I'm betting on a Bengal, it's Chase or Mixon. Higgins is a good pivot as well, but I think the top 2 to me are Chase, Mixon. After that, there's no other Bengals, besides Higgins. Browns are tough, man. Nick Chubb's probably going to score. Otherwise, we need to see Deshaun Watson. We need some Watson data.
This is a divisional game. I like the under on this game, 47.5. I like the under a lot. Mixon and Njoku Chase.
So they're hammering the Elijah Moore over 2.5 receptions. They're hammering the Irv Smith over 2.5. They're not hammering, but they're over on T. Higgins. T. Higgins at 4.5, and they're taking the over. So we might have to look at the Higgins receiving number. Jamar Chase is a push at 6.5, and then Njoku a little bit. They're taking the under on Amari Cooper, 4.5, by the way.
Interesting. And they're taking the over on Elijah.
Yeah, so let's go see what's happening up here. Elijah Moore, 32.5, and they're taking the over. T. Higgins is at 58.5, and they're saying he's getting 5 catches. That's probably an over. I would feel more comfortable taking the Higgins over 58.5 than his touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think Higgins for 60 yards is probably a pretty safe bet.
Andrew, they're betting Higgins is going to go 5 for about 60 in this game, probably as a floor. So
Njoku's 36.5.
yep. And they hammered they I think they took his over 3.5 or something like that.
What's Mixon's rushing 56.5?
Donovan Peoples-Jones was hit up for over 2.5 receptions. So if he gets 3 catches, he's probably going over 36.
Mm-hmm.
This can be a good game. This is probably one of the sneakier, better games. I don't think it's on TV on live TV in my market, but it will be a good one. Any of these rushing numbers stick out to you? Or like Joe Burrow under 9.5 rushing yards is probably a lock. Mixon at 56.5. Like, what's that look like? Does he need to get 15 carries?
Yeah, I think he definitely could get there. I think 60 yards makes sense for Mixon. I think it's a game where I think they can run on Cleveland. Cleveland's secondary is pretty good. Could be limited through the air, but I think Mixon can do it on the ground.
Would you rather just take the rushing receiving total of 80 and call it good? Or do you think they're going to have to run the ball? I just don't know who the RB2 is, man. I don't know who it is.
Yeah, I mean, Evans and Brown, it's like, I think Mixon's going to be playing in this game a lot.
So maybe that just leads me to the touchdown then.
Right, yeah, just take the Mixon plus 115, yep.
Any final thoughts here on this game here?
Should be a good grinder. Good battle.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I want to see what the Browns offense can do.
Good entertainment.
We'll be quick with this one. Jags, Colts. Colts picked to lose by 5, or it's 4.5 now.
4.5, yep.
And who's scoring in this one? Are you taking the Richardson rushing touchdown week 1 here?
Yeah, at home, I think it's fun. It's okay. Jags defense is not great by any means yet. No. I mean, I think they're getting better, but I don't think they're fantastic. So,
and he's honestly the only Colt touchdown that we're gonna probably even think about clicking. But on the Jags side, like Calvin Ridley, I could see scoring. I do think ETN scoring at plus 145. I think they're gonna find a way to get him in the end zone this week.
Yeah, I got him highlighted as well. Colts defense, it's just not. It's not as good as you want it to be. I mean, Shaq Leonard's healthy. Hopefully that lasts and he can stay on the field. But their secondary is very susceptible.
So I think with that said, I'm interested in probably taking like Trevor Lawrence minus 130 to hit 2. I'm probably smashing the hell out of this. Honestly, Trevor Lawrence to hit 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's throwing 2 touchdowns. Like Kirk has probably got a pretty good shot for a touchdown.
Yeah,
Ridley's probably got a good shot. Maybe Zay Jones gets one. I mean, T-Law's.
Evan Ingram.
Yeah, I mean, he's got weapons, and it's a defense that can be. I think they're going to be the passive this year. I think people are just going to throw all day against them.
So we like an ETN. We like an Anthony Richardson rushing touchdown. We like Lawrence to throw 2. So you can pick your favorite one to catch a touchdown as well. And then what's the A-Rich interception line? Minus 135 to go over 1. I thought it'd be much higher.
Yeah, I thought it'd be more closer to like a
150. Yeah. Whoops. Rushing receiving numbers. I think we have to take.
He's getting 50, right?
He had 35 in the first half of that one game. So Richardson over 45.5. Yes. Is there any doubt on ETN hitting his 56.5?
Probably not. It's probably pretty safe.
That's minimum like probably 12 carries and he can hit that.
Yeah. He'll have a big run that gets him like 20 to 30 of those yards.
Let's look at the receptions first. They're saying over Alec Pierce 2.5. They're saying under Calvin Ridley 5.5. Under Christian Kirk 4.5.
Wait, wow, interesting.
The unders are leaning here for they're all numbers though.
So they essentially think that
5 Ridley, 4 Kirk, 4 Ingram.
They think the Jags, the betting market's saying the Jags are going to be up and they're going to run the ball. I don't think it's going to be as close. I don't think it's going to be as much of that much of a blowout. Whereas like Washington, Arizona, that's a true blowout to me. Divisional game, I think it's closer than people think.
Can the Colts win this game, Jesse?
It's winnable, probably not.
Why not?
I think they'd have to turn over Lawrence to
Yeah.
to get there. Because I just don't think I think the offense. It
So
would
the
take big
Colts,
plays. It would really take big plays. I don't think the offense is going to be very efficient. I don't think it's going to be moving the ball unless Richardson just balls out. I mean,
if Richardson's
it's
picking
week
up
one.
downs that should not be picked up, which we think he's going to, if he doesn't turn the ball over, and all they need is one stupid ass play, whether it is a Trevor Lawrence interception, an ETN fumble, a blocked punt, something stupid like that, right? Like,
Yeah.
they need one. And that's the difference of this game. Like, they're only 4.5 point dogs. Like, one snap over Lawrence's head, something stupid, and that could swing this game. So I don't want to count the Colts out. I think they're a fun team to watch, and I'm excited for Richardson. Did I skip a team here? Eagles Patriots. I think we can be quick with this one. I'm taking Jalen Hurts to score a rushing touchdown. Who else is going to score a touchdown for the Eagles?
Yeah, I mean,
You taking Swift? Taylor Swift?
I'm not taking Swift. I gotta see this. I gotta see how this plays out. Who goes at the goal line? Does Kenny G come in there and snipe a touchdown at plus 300?
Yeah.
Does Rashad Penny get there in the goal line? What's the true running back split here? I mean, you can take advantage of these nice odds right now, but just stick to Jalen Hurts.
Stick the Hurts tush push, and then if you're feeling frisky, Dallas Goedert he's my guy. He's scoring a touchdown this weekend. I feel good about it. Otherwise, like AJ, like you're Bill Belichick, man. You're not going to let AJ Brown beat you. Like, you're just not.
But but like, if you're Bill, you can't just focus AJ Brown because then you got Devonta Smith on the other side just ripping it up. I don't think this is a game where Bill can just remove one guy from the game. If he removes one guy from the game, he wants to remove the ability of Hurts to move around.
So is that sitting in is he sitting back in a zone then? Is he QB spying? How do you do that?
Yeah. I mean, he's always. I mean, it's whatever. We'll see what Bill dials up, but it's got to be containing Jalen Hurts.
So this is why I like Dallas Goedert a lot, because I think the Patriots defense is respectably good. I think their cornerbacks are good and young. So I think Goddard in the middle of the field makes a lot of sense to me. I don't know any of the Patriots linebackers off the top of my head, but again, we don't know many linebackers off the top of our head. But I do think that is going to be a soft spot of the Patriots defense, because if they are like QB spying and having a linebacker mirror Hurts, essentially, that's one less spot to cover Dallas Goedert. So I'm thinking that's probably where I want. But otherwise, like, I don't know if I want, like, we love AJ Brown. We love Devonta Smith. Like, these guys are good picks to score a touchdown. Patriots, I'm going to take a Zeke Elliott touchdown plus 290. If they score one touchdown, it's going to be Zeke.
That's sick. But yeah, who scores the touchdowns for them? I mean, there's the receivers you can't bank on.
It's going to be Gesicki.
Ramondre Gesicki, is he going to gritty his way to the sidelines? Like, Hunter Henry, I mean, it seems to have a good connection, but
we need info. We need data. This is a tough test for the Patriots offense. If things go well, then we can be interested next week. But we cannot recommend anybody on this team. We need to see some data points. Are you interested in seeing they got Jalen Hurts at 41.5 rushing? People are taking the over there. We're not interested in any of the Swift Gainwell numbers.
Yeah, I mean, it's so low, 32.5 for Swift. It's pretty low. I mean,
Swift needs 8 carries to hit that.
Yeah.
So that's in play. Let's go to the receptions total real quick.
Yeah,
they beat over 4.5.
They're pounding over on AJ Brown, which is interesting.
Wow. And they got the under on Goddard 4.5. They have the over Devonta Smith 4.5. Juju, just say no. And Ramondre
3.5.
3.5. Interesting. So the public is saying AJ Brown and Devonta Smith are gonna gobble up today or tomorrow. So it's Devonta 62.5. That's the outlier here. People are taking the over aggressively on AJ Brown a little bit there, but Devonta's cheaper at 62.5 yards, and people like his over 4.5 receptions. So 5 for 65, Devonta Smith floor seems.
Yeah, I mean, if you tell me Goddard gets like 4 catches, that's an easy 40.5 number to hit, though. It's like I feel good about his.
He's a career roughly his career average is about 12 yards per catch. So if he gets 4, that's 48. That's, to me, I'm taking 40 and a half.
Yeah. I mean, they like the pass game for the week.
Yeah. So
Betting
this is
market
a situation where maybe everybody eats, and then the freaking running back room, everybody is 7 for 28 yards, and everybody gets 1 catch on 2 targets for 6 yards. Like, it'd be a mess. So I think
I'll be curious how this game plays out.
Yeah, we need info data on the Philly RBs. We love the passing game, and the Patriots. This will be for science. We need to see what we can do. Packers Bears, man. This is
Packers Bears
game of the week. The game of the week in this area of town. Who's scoring a touchdown in this one? Everyone's plus odds here, so I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, I have a really hard time betting against the top 2 guys to find the end zone this week. You know, DJ Moore is not getting a 60-yard fucking bubble screen touchdown, like he did in the preseason. Khalil Herbert plus 230. Is he the guy in the red zone though, or do they bust out Roshan Johnson? Maybe Roshan gets his touchdown down there.
Unfortunately, the Bears they ruined the preseason by getting 2 long ass screens to the house, because we didn't get to see any situational data. We didn't get to see third downs, goal line work. We didn't get to see anything. So
we got nada.
We maybe it's Deonta Foreman who's the goal line back, and that was his role, and they just didn't get to show it. Like, we don't know anything. So it's Fields, it's Aaron Jones, and then our dark horses are probably Jaden Reed, Cole Kmet, Luke Musgrave to catch touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, 550 on Roshan. I could really see them just being like, they get to the red zone, they pop the rookie in, and they said, "All right, go get your son." Boom.
Yeah, he's a good dark horse. I want to also mention a potential Jordan Love shuffle to the end zone from about 12 yards out. Could be fun to see vintage Aaron Rodgers rushing touchdown like he did against the Bears.
Does he pull out the belt?
Oh, you can't do that. First, well,
in Chicago.
Rodgers would probably like it.
He would, dude. He would like it for sure.
It's like it's like you got to ask like the father to marry the daughter kind of thing. I'm sure he asked Rodgers like, "Hey man, can I do it?" People would go nuts. That would be nuts. So Fields and Jones are the ones that we can responsibly recommend. We mentioned our dark horses here. DJ Moore is still a good bet to catch a touchdown. If Fields is going to throw one, that's probably where we're looking. I don't think we don't even want to open the passing props, do we?
Probably not. Let's just see what these rush receivers are all about.
You can convince the people to take Aaron Jones over 60.5, can't you?
We can convince them, yeah. And that line was lower earlier in the week. Definitely been moving up. AJ Dillon even looks 41.5. This seems like a double trouble.
He needs 10
running back total here.
Yeah, and I think the Bears gave up like 122 running back yards last year per game. So both Jones and Dillon, like, that's the offense this week with no Christian Watson. That's clearly offense. And then look at our boy J Love.
Oh, yeah, they're taking that.
Smashed over 12.5.
Interesting. I mean,
good. Justin Fields, man, 58.5 though. Is that happening?
That's appetizing. I take that over Khalil Herbert's.
Yeah, the Bears running back is one of those situations, like Denver, like the Jets.
Yeah.
I need to see the rotation. I'm still not buying that Khalil
Eagles
player. We shall see. And honestly, like, the receptions in this game,
we don't get any Packer ones because of the.
I'm not interested. I'm just not interested in this. People are smashing the over on Cole Kmet though.
Wait, DJ Moore 3.5 is only 120. I feel like that should be. Fields is gonna have eyes for DJ Moore because he can't trust anybody.
Getting 8 targets in this game.
49.5. I mean, that's a line that I can eat. DJ Moore 50 yards.
I think you just smashed the hell out of 3.5, man.
Yeah, I mean that's a low.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, wow. What do they got Kmet at here? 2.5. They're taking the over. What's his yardage at? Like 30-ish, 35-ish.
27.5.
I mean, that's probably over. That's too low.
I feel more comfortable. Again, I feel more comfortable about the receptions, I think, in this.
Yeah.
Because we just don't know. Any other final thoughts here on the Packers Bears, or should we move on? I think we got maybe 2 more games. We have the game of the week that I'm calling it. Game of the week.
Look at the background, baby. There's a reason. Bolt up. That's our game of the week.
We can take a minute to look at the Seahawks chart or Rams, but I'm not super pumped about it. But this is the game of the week. Chargers hosting the Dolphins. Chargers by 3. 170 is their money line. Everyone's scoring touchdowns here. They got Eckler at minus 225. That's unclickable, but he's going to score. But holy shit, minus 225 for Eckler is insane. Let's start with the Dolphins. If the Dolphins score, who's scoring and why?
Give me the double Hill Waddle touchdowns. Tua over. I bet you Tua's touchdowns are 2.5. I won't be surprised. Or if they're 1.5, it's probably minus 200.
Should we start there? Because that kind of paints the picture.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can just look and see where things are at. Minus 135, smash. Herbert should be 2.5. I mean, it's like, what are we doing here?
They might change that because it's been beaten up so bad. Like tomorrow, they might change that. But Tua's throwing 2, and Herbert's throwing 2. So you can double tap the Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. One of those guys, if not both, are scoring. Same, and the fact that Tyreek Hill and these guys are scoring. Like there's going to be upwards of 6 touchdowns in this game. So take the receivers. Who's your dark horse to score in this one, and why is it Durham Smythe?
Durham Smythe. That's there's some spice there. I mean, I think if we really want to hunt deep, it's kind of the thing about these offenses and why it's like nice to bet on them is because like they're very condensed, right?
Yeah.
There's really not a true wide receiver 3 in Miami. There's really not a true wide receiver 3 in the Chargers. So it's like you can feel good clicking Jalen Waddle. You can feel good clicking Keenan Allen because they're going to be getting targets like crazy. So like when we look at these receptions, it's probably going to be some good numbers, and you're going to be like, it just makes sense. The question here for me is, does Mostert get the touchdown, or do we maybe turn to someone like Selvin Ahmad on like a screenplay and Ahmad just burns in for a 25-yard touchdown? Because like, can we trust the A-Chain to be like playing? What are we going to get from him? So like someone's got to dispel Mostert, and maybe it's like a freaking Selvin Ahmad fluke touchdown.
I'm open to him. Did you know it's Ahmed, by the way?
Ahmed.
It's freaking Ahmed. Yeah, that one always messed me up. But I'm interested in the backfield split between A-Chain and Ahmed. I don't know who it's going to be. I think there's one other guy that they like a lot. He's an undrafted guy, and I know the football guys have been pumping him up, but his name's Chris something. But he's the guy to keep an eye on. They have this undrafted guy that is the Dolphins kept him as their RB4, this undrafted kid, and that's usually a guy you put on your practice squad, but they didn't want to lose him. So keeping an eye out for that. But yeah, the Mostert plus 100 is probably okay, but if I'm betting Dolphins, man, it's Tyreek, it's Waddle, and then I'm probably taking that Tua over 1.5 at minus whatever it was.
Yeah, minus 130. I think that's probably a good
and
number.
We use this to see who's getting the touches. I do think one of Berrios or Smythe is a dark horse to score a touchdown because I think these are their next best players that are going to be on the field after Tyreek and Waddle.
Yeah.
And yeah, the running back is just, we don't know yet. But Keenan, Mike, Eckler, those are the top 3 Chargers.
Everett, what do you think about Everett scoring? I mean,
Everett could easily pop in there. I also think like if they get Quentin Johnston in there, like he could dial something up. But like it's Johnston and Palmer. We need to see that snap count. Justin Herbert did not rush for a single rushing touchdown last year. Just want to call that. And he had been his first couple seasons, he had been getting, I think, 5. So I think he's going to run the ball more, a full year removed from his rib injury. I'm open to that. Let's look one more time at these passing numbers here. Both guys are throwing 2 minimum. I would take the passing yards over on these 2.
255 for Tua is quite low.
That looks pretty good. 291.5 for Herbert, 255.5 for Tua. They got interceptions for Tua, but not Herbert. Interesting.
I mean, I think is there an avenue here where Tua struggles just based on the fact that the Chargers pass rush just gets to him? Miami O-line has a little bit of issues right now, if I recall. So maybe there's that scrambling. Tua struggles and the Chargers dominate at home. There's an avenue there, but I think in general we want this to be a 35-28 game. That's what we're hoping for.
I'm not comfortable taking anybody's rushing overs in this one.
I think 64.5. I mean, the Chargers were very bad against the run last year.
They've been historically bad the last few years.
Yeah, they've been pretty bad.
But Mostert needs 15 carries to get that. Are they going to give 32-year-old Raheem Mostert 15 carries week 1?
Yeah, probably not.
I don't know.
If there's a week to do it, this is the 1 week, because afterwards you question if Mostert can do it.
All right, so they're taking Eckler's at 4.5. That's kind of even there. So they're saying he's going to get 4 or 5 catches. Durham Smythe over 1.5. People are liking him for 2. They're saying under Gerald Everett 3.5. They're saying slightly over for Jalen Waddle at probably 5 catches. They're taking smashing Josh Palmer.
Wow, smashing. That's interesting.
They're smashing Keenan Allen under 6
That's
and a
interesting.
half.
I mean, they're taking both unders on Mike and Keenan, which
weird.
It's a weird.
And then Mostert on here at 2.5 is weird, and then Tyreek Hill, people are taking. This is weird.
I mean, I think it's because the reception initially the numbers are high because it's so it's so condensed, but like, I mean, they're going to be throwing the ball to those guys.
Durham Smythe, baby, 2 for 15, book it.
That seems easy. I mean,
he's going to get that on the first drive. You
walk over. I mean, pretty much every line's pretty much flat here. 68 for Keenan.
So I thought I saw something where I can't remember where I saw it. I probably should have liked or retweeted it, but it was a stat about Tyreek Hill where they were like, when they're favored to lose, like especially when it's on the road, I think he blows up or something like that. So this could be a Tyreek Hill game. I know Waddle's been kind of coming back from a rib injury, so maybe this is a game to just like lean into Tyreek Hill. Touchdown, yards, receptions. We know Tyreek's really good.
Is Waddle off? He's off injury reports, right? Like,
yeah,
what's his receptions? What's Waddle's?
I think he was at 4.5. And people are taking the over, so they're saying.
So that's the one that they're taking, yeah.
So 5 for 64 seems doable.
Yeah, definitely.
I like that. Yeah, this is the game to get some bets in, guys.
Take your favorite receiver in this game, bet him to score a touchdown. Maybe parlay Eckler with, Chubb or.
What's with the Josh Palmer? They smashed his 2.5 over receptions, and then he's sitting at 30.5 here. So 3 for 30 for Josh Palmer.
I mean, that seems Palmer is probably historically a guy who's probably averaging like 15 yards a catch.
No, I think it's 10. I think he averaged 10 yards per catch last year. Yeah. But but last year they put him, because of the injuries, they had him play a role that he's not usually a guy in. And if you remember in the preseason last year, he was streaking downfield and caught a huge play. Like he's with healthy Keenan and Mike, he's more of a field stretcher. So that could hit.
I mean, if he gets 3 catches, that's 3 for 33 yards, 3 for 32 yards.
And who's to say he can't get 30.5 in one go,
Yeah, exactly.
So this is the game of the week that we're excited about. Any final thoughts on this, or do you want to rapid fire off the top of your head who's scoring touchdowns for the Seahawks?
Yeah, what do we got left? We got the Raiders, Broncos, and the
Yuckers. All right, let's just do off the top of our head touchdowns in this one. Kenneth Walker's coming in limited. I love DK Metcalf plus 120. Charbonnet's a sneaky guy. Lockett, you got to be interested in here.
Yeah.
If you're taking one Ram, it's probably Akers or Higbee. End of list.
I mean, I think they got they picked the right guys here. Maybe Puka Nuka for like a fancy little 425, but like you're getting deep.
Yeah, don't get cute.
I like Cam plus 140. That seems like pretty.
Yeah.
I might like his yards better. I mean, DK, right? DK is gonna get off to a good start here. He's gonna have some fun.
Akers at 64.5. People are taking the over, and people are taking the over on Geno Smith, 14.5. Stafford, whatever. Kenneth Walker. Are you clicking Kenneth Walker, 67.5? He probably needs what? 15.
I can't click a guy who last year.
Off a bad, yeah.
Last year, there were a couple games where he came in and then left, and now he's got the groin. It's risky clicking Kenneth Walker numbers.
So people are hitting the under Cam Akers 2.5. What do you think about that? 3
I think
for Akers at plus 140.
It seems like a reasonable proposition. I mean, you have to think Stafford's going to be thinking and dunking, man. He's not going to be. He's not going to have time to throw downfield. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by that.
People are taking DK over 4.5, so 5 catches for DK. Jackson Smith and the Jigba, they're taking the over, so 3 catches for JSN. Kenneth Walker, you shouldn't touch. Puka, let's wait and see what that looks like. Same thing with Tutu, but people are smashing Tutu over 2.5. And then Higbee under 5.5. I think if it was 4.5, I would do it.
Yeah.
Lockett is a push at 4.5. Lockett's probably going to get 5 catches. And then Van Jefferson under 3.5 for
I
the
like that. I like that over.
receiver. I would, if I'm taking any of these Rams numbers, it's Van.
Catches for Van.
Yeah. The yards here for Van Jefferson are 42.5. So a 4 for 45 line would do it. Interestingly, they're taking DK Metcalf to catch 5 passes, but not eclipse 64.5 yards. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean,
What?
he's got a career average 13.8 yards per catch. It's
that's the one I'm taking for this entire game. I'm taking DK Metcalf 64.5 over.
With plus 100. I mean, plus 100, you gotta like what you're seeing there.
That's a touchdown basically odd.
I mean, Akers 13.5 yards receiving seems possible.
And people are taking the under 2.5, so like he only needs 2 catches to do that, and if he does get to 3, you win.
What's Tyler Lockett looking at? I mean,
minus 120
seems so, reasonable.
And then people were taking his under whatever 4.5 though, so they like Lockett to hit 56.5, but not go over 4.5.
It seems like they don't know exactly how the distribution's gonna go here on this
one. JSN at minus 130, people are hitting that, but he can do that in 2 plays. So I think Metcalf sticks out. I think if you're open to Cam Akers being a pass catcher, that one makes sense. Otherwise, I mean, Higbee at 45.5, man, like they're taking the under 5.5, but if he does get 5 catches, he's probably going over, like he can do 45.5 with just 4 catches, right?
Yeah.
So that one's kind of right on the edge there for me, where I'm open to it. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, I'm totally cool not putting any money on a Rams player this week and learning and seeing how this offense looks like without Cooper Kupp. And then
I agree.
Our final game of the weekend here. This one is so dirty. I don't know how it's going to go. There's
Denver.
So many questions with Denver. Denver by 3.5. Money lines at minus 175. Who the hell scores a touchdown in this game?
If you just take the Raiders money line and call it a day, like.
Whew. What's stopping Josh Jacobs from just going 140 yards and 2 touchdowns?
Yeah, I mean he's fresh.
So when Cortland Sutton is the top Broncos touchdown odds, like I just kind of want to click it. I just want to go to bed. When
are you going to see Devontae Adams plus 130?
That's probably very. Like I think he torched Pat Surtain last year. That's probably the only one I would click in this whole game. Devontae Adams plus 130 to score. You can convince me of Josh Jacobs at plus 115. One of them will score. You could do the pairing touchdown thing and have fun with that. Broncos, I just don't want to bet on the Broncos to score a touchdown. Like we don't know how the backfield's going to shake out. We don't know how Russell Wilson's going to. We don't even know if Jerry Jeudy's going to play. Like there's just too much.
I don't hate a P. Ryan touchdown at 190. That's kind of.
I would imagine P. Ryan's the goal line back just because he has the power to get. And a goal line back is you're getting gobbled up here. So I don't think they're going to throw Javonte in there. The ultimate sleeper here is probably Adam Troutman sneaking out of the fucking flat to catch a 2-yard touchdown. That could be something there.
Is Mayer pretty much the starting tight end for Las Vegas? He's kind of the forgotten about rookie tight end. Like, are they just gonna slap freaking?
He's like co-starting with Hooper, but they're gonna use. It sounded like he was primarily a blocker. Also, like there was no hype about Mayer all summer.
Nothing at all. Yeah, it's kind of sad.
We're spending too much time on it.
Yeah, it's just.
I can't bet on anybody here.
No P-Ryan numbers. That's disappointing.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, they're taking the under on Javonte. Jacobs at 71.5. That's probably a realistic number. And
Javonte over 10.5 receiving yards. That's clickable. But yeah, no P-Ryan numbers is weird. Like we know he's playing. I don't know why they are messing with us here. So they don't have everything in here. I think I'm good calling this one a day. They do have Devontae smashing over 5.5 receptions. So
yeah, absolutely.
Devontae,
72.5 is probably reason. He's probably getting 80 yards.
It's a Devontae game. Take him to go 6 for 80 and a touchdown. Call it a day. Don't worry too much about it. But yeah,
it's an icky one.
That's every game but Sunday Night Football. quick thought before, I don't even want to open it up, but who's scoring for the Cowboys? Who's scoring for the Giants real quick?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's Tony Pollard. Welcome to the show, big man. Full-time starter. Have some fun.
I will mirror Tony Pollard, and then I do need to just say Jake Ferguson's name once.
What's his yard? What's his yard? Can we just look at his yardage?
I am contractually obligated to say Jake Ferguson in every podcast.
Just look at his yardage or receptions real quick. We don't have to look at anything else.
Dun, 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 dun. It's not in there yet. They sleeping.
These bitches.
Sleeping. They're taking Tony over 2.5 though. So
easy.
I watched a video last night. It might have been on TikTok or something, but some guy was breaking, like they're going back to the West Coast offense, and some guy was breaking it down. And the primary like idea of the West Coast offense is it's all about the footwork of the quarterback and the receivers being in rhythm with his drop steps. So this is going to be a get the ball out quick timing offense. So like the Cowboys are probably going to smash their receiving. Like, and look at all the overs here. All overs on the Cowboys receptions. So
quick, get it out.
Yes. So I think you're going to see the Cowboys have elite passing volume this year, and they're all going to be hitting their overs and receptions, I think, in this game. So like they're probably going to put Jake Ferguson at 1.5.
Fergie is at 24.5 yards.
Yeah. So we will. I wish you could turn an alert on for Jake Ferguson's update here, because I would take it if it comes in. But I think the Cowboys are gonna they're gonna come out throwing the ball. So I'm excited about that. And Darren Waller is unknown, so we don't really have anything in for this game yet. So we'll keep an eye on that for you guys. But we will be. Jesse and I are going to be putting up our list. Are we only gonna do 5 this week? We gotta probably do more than 5.
I mean, we'll have a bunch of props to consider, right? But 5 is probably week 1. Don't get ahead of ourselves.
I think last year I did a same game parlay up there every week, and then we might have did some other money line stuff. So we'll whip some stuff up here, guys. If you guys are new to the Fantasy Fellowship, definitely subscribe, like the video, all that good stuff. There is a link in the description that I once I get the bets up there, you guys can go take a look at it. And there's going to be a huge list of bets that we like to consider. And then if you guys do have questions, join our new Discord. It's in the link in the description. That's where we get all the questions. So I don't know, Jesse, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Just enjoy it. We've waited all this time for this. Have fun with it. Just remember, it's a game. Don't let it ruin your day.
Andrew, you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Go watch some college football. Go outside today. It looks really nice outside, because we're going to be inside probably all day tomorrow. So
7 hours.
Yeah, it's going to be open the windows, go outside, touch some grass. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a good rest of your Saturday. Peace.